Ba 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 na na. Ba 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 na na. Oh, ba 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 na na.
So hello, so I'm gonna open Photoshop now. I'm using CS6 and this thing appeared because I'm using a second monitor since the monitor of my laptop has incorrect color. So do check that if your laptop or your computer has the correct color settings, because what you see may not actually be what would be printed or what would be appearing on other people's monitors. So if you do use a second monitor, do choose ignore profile, because using anyway will just use the same incorrect settings of your original monitor. So I'm going to create a new file now. Okay, so here okay, we're going to use 5 inches. Yes, you can customize settings there, and we're going to have 200 dpi the resolution for ppi. Okay, and we're going to use the color mode of RGB with 8-bit. When you're going to use whatever you're making to be printed, it's better to use it for CMYK, since that's the format that's how printers recognize images, and it will result to their output. And since we're going to do something for the web, or if you want to do something that has a smaller file size for the web, for Facebook and stuff, you're better off using RGB instead. Okay, so there's our picture. Okay, so our target, so for this tutorial we're going to have a target picture to use. It's this. Yeah, I know it's not that much, but we're going to be covering the basics here, so yeah. Okay, hand. Okay, so what are we seeing? A quick intro to the stuff here in the toolbox. This basically moves and transforms stuff like in PowerPoint and Word. This selects stuff with freehand and selects stuff automatically, but it's not really exact. This crops stuff. This is an eyedropper tool where you get to pick colors from pictures. This clones stuff, you can explore this by yourself. The brush tool, color replacement tool, basically what the title says. Clone stamp tool, you can explore that by yourself. History, eraser tool. Magic eraser tool is kind of like an automatic thing that detects the whole image. It's not really exact, but sometimes it does make for nice effects. Background eraser tool, so somehow you have a sky there and there's a sun in the middle. You want to remove the background, use the background eraser tool, but still it's not exact. And here's the paint bucket tool, the gradient tool. Self-explanatory, you can try this out by yourself. Never tried this myself before. There's the blur, sharpen, smudge. You all do that in photo editing apps. The dodge tool, this lowers the opacity of things, I believe. Burn tool heightens the contrast to a browner tint. We'll be using this later. Sponge tool removes color, basically. Just experiment. The pen tool, one of the most powerful tools ever invented by Adobe, apparently. This we'll be also using later. Text tool, this like that. Path tool, path selection tool. When you get to know how to use the pen tool, you'll be using this, the path selection tool, the direct selection tool. You'll discover it yourself. This stuff for you to create shapes just like in PowerPoint, and this is used to, well, scale with things. When you have stuff here, you can move them around. Magnifying tool and the color tool, where you can where the color at the left side is the color that you'll see when you use the left button of your mouse, and just do this and you have the pink. Okay, so there's a quick intro of the toolbox. And to remove these things, we have to use this shortcut. Yeah, okay, so we're aiming for this. Okay, so wait, I'll test this. Okay, wait. So we can actually remove this lock by double clicking it and giving it a new name, so it'll be less restrictive, just in case you want to delete your background, or you want to move it up, or whatever you want to do. So here's the target. So we're gonna use the paint bucket tool. And by the way, my color swatch is like this because I chose to use the Pantone solid coated, or the Pantone solid coated. From the usual paint color swatches is this. I just used a pen. Yeah, and you can make more selective color choices by using this. I think I also modified this. I used the HSB sliders because that's what I'm used to, and I think it's better than the RGB sliders. See, the RGB sliders are a bit difficult to understand. The HSB sliders are slightly more direct. This is just a hue, this is just a saturation, and this is just a brightness. So let's get on with the swatches. I use some shade of green somewhere here, but I'm not sure what shade I use, so I'm going to use eyedropper tool. Okay. Why won't it click? Well, apparently I'm not on the green layer. Okay, and this worked. So let's fill. Okay, and then I created this triangle by creating a rectangle. These are the settings. You can use this as a path or I don't know, as pixels. I think this is going to render this as a rasterized version, not much of the texture that would allow us to modify it more. The path can be used if you want to make selections like that. Eventually you can make selections when you finalize rectangle. But with the shape, moving on, I made a stroke blank, and the fill is going to be let's choose some darker color. Okay, that's that, and then we're gonna use the transforms to see just like paint. Yeah, like that. Well, there's actually many ways of doing this. I just showed this to show you guys how to make use of those shapes. Okay, so in creating a new layer, you can either use that shortcut or you can just do this. I usually do this because I find it troublesome to click Shift Control N with my keyboard. And you can also group stuff to make things easier. You just have to click your Shift button and then click the layers that you want to combine. You can group them by either from here, just click Group from Layers, or you could use the shortcut called Control plus G, which I think is far more easier. You can also create a new group just by creating this group, create a group. Here, it's practical, and then drag. Okay. And by the way, you can move. There's an easier way of moving layers, especially when you have so many layers there and you just want to move something right up to the front. There's no such thing as what's like in PowerPoint or Word where you can do the move to the front thing. Though I believe there's a keyboard shortcut from that, but I really use it. So the shortcut for moving things here instead of dragging is group layers, Control plus this, and Control plus that. Well, the other moves up, the other moves down is just like that. It's far more easier to use. So what are we going to do next? Okay, so we're going to move on with using let's do this thing first. I think it's easier. Okay, so let's do the custom shape. Where is it? It's here. Well, yeah, there's shapes here just like in PowerPoint. You can add more. You can Google it and see how to add more shapes if you believe you can make use of it. Okay, let's do. Oopsie, I made it in the wrong group. Okay, using the shortcuts. There. I'm going to use the fill. Okay, another color. Somewhere neater. Lol, whatever. This color will do. Okay. And custom shapes. And by the way, about the image resolutions, you guys should Google about it. It's really important. There's something provided here in the description, but if you want to Google it, if you want another source, that's fine. That's actually far more better. And let's explore this. There's the opacity, half of the opacity, and there's plenty of layer effects here. You can Google about it more for a better description. Okay, let's see what they do. Dissolve. You can't see much. I wonder if we can see what happens if we rasterize this. Yeah, okay. Oh, it's okay. Even if you don't rasterize, apparently. Okay, darken. Difference. Normal. Dissolve. Darken. Multiply. Well, I believe reading more about it will give you a better insight. Okay, so moving on. Let's create this text. Okay. Create this text. Okay. I use the font called wait, what is it called again? Where's the tut? There's the tut. What? Wait. Okay. Where is it? This one. Yeah, font called Block Art. So we're gonna type tut. But we're going to make the font color white. This thing's like this because of the swatches that I picked. See? Or we could and see what happens when you use RGB. It's far more better to use HSB. Seriously guys, it's far more better to understand. Okay, so we're going to use white. Let's use white. There. Huh. Apparently I used the yellow one. Let's do that. But yeah, there. So the thing is, with this kind of text, you can actually do plenty of kinds of modifications using this one. You can change the sizes either manually, or you can use the sidebar. And with additional text, you can also change the line height. Depending on the kind of font you use, you can change this thing, but it does not appear for block art. And this will change the spacing of the characters. Wait. This the height. This the width. And here, well, the difference between the first letter of the word and the second letter of the word. And this makes this bold, italic, what is this? All caps. But this font doesn't even support not all caps, so yeah. But this is a nice tool if you've got text that also have text that are not capitalized, but you want them all capitalized and you don't want to write them again. This is a shortcut that's nice. And this makes everything small caps. Superscript, subscript, underline, strike through. Yeah, we know that. Paragraph, okay? You know this stuff from Word, you can experiment with this. Okay, so we're going to change the size of this. Let's do this to 72. Okay, smaller, 30, whatever. You can also change the size of the text manually using this tool. Now there are times when you want to rasterize your text, and you can do that by clicking this. Why you want to do that? Well, when you want to modify your text, if you want to use erase tool on it, look, erase tool worked. And some other things that you might want to do. Oh, and when you merge layers, text automatically gets rasterized, by the way. Even this vector shapes there. You can see this icon, it means that it's still a vector shape, and it's not yet rasterized. So let's see, let's try this, it's already rasterized, and we can create the outline, like in the other picture, using stroke. There's automatically a black line outside of there. Just experiment with these things. Okay, let's introduce this. This stuff, well, bevel and emboss, there's explore, inner shadow, for if you want your pics to look engraved, inner glow, satin, color overlay if you want to change the color. Oh, this is useful, by the way, if you already rasterized your text or your layer, but you want to modify the color. You can't actually do that when the text is already rasterized. So for example, if you already have this text merged with another layer and you can't recover it, you could use the magic wand tool and select this stuff. Just press shift while clicking on the different shapes, just like in PowerPoint where you have to select different items at once. It's either shift or control and then click, and then right click and then click make selection, and then layer via copy. But we're coming on to that later, so yeah. Gradient. Okay, pattern. You can download patterns at the net, and then you can Google how to apply them, but it depends on you when you're going to use that. Drop shadow for the 3D effects. See? 3D. Okay. Okay, so what's next? Okay, let's do this text. So it's gonna be Photoshop. Let's change color to white, and the font is font kilogram. Hideous typography, by the way, that one. Should have stuck with this. But then again, we do want to see how the effects work. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. I believe that the spacing was different. Okay. So adjustment, but still an adjustment. And then there was a shape. Like, wait. Okay. The shape is shape. Let's find a better one, eh? Arc. You can actually change that with the settings. Just mess around with your Photoshop, okay? That actually looks pretty good. Somewhat. But it has promise, I suppose, depending on the usage. But hey, we're just covering the usage here. Do not, whatever happens, follow the style of what I'm doing here. It's really embarrassing style, but it's a tutorial, so hey. Okay, so we can do this effect, the shadow effect, by doing this. It's the drop shadow, and then changing the distance. See? You can also change the spread to make it darker and sharper. The size could also be something, but it looks pretty weird. But sometimes it has its use, you know. And you can change these things too. This stuff you can see better if you're doing this text on a photo. Okay, so this is an option in doing that shadow thing, but there's also another option. You can just duplicate the layer. Okay, and this is gonna be layer below. And then change the font color of this thing, but since I'm too lazy to do so, we're going to use color overlay, and I'm going to use black. Okay, so just select that layer, and then make sure to select this free transform, what is this called? The move tool, and then use your keys, your arrow keys at your keyboard to move the layer. So there, you can actually have somewhat of a better control for the whole thing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it's an easy way to apply. Okay, so moving on, we have this thing next, and we're going to cover the pen tool. But first, we're going to cover how do you import pictures into your file. Some may use earphone view, and then open the picture, and then click the edit, and then copy. But a more practical way to do is just open the file and click place, and then choose the picture. Some will even drag the picture to Photoshop itself, but it's kind of messy. This is much more cleaner. So we're going to resize this. Oopsie. Do click the shift button while dragging to maintain the orientation, right? Okay, so there. Check. Yep, the Baker Street Boys. So we're gonna zoom a bit. So we can choose to crop the entire thing, as in exactly, but that'll take a bit more work, and it'll be something of a slow thing if you're not used to the pen tool. But if you're used to it, you will probably cut out the entirety of these figures in just a minute or so. So now we're going to cover the pen tool. The pen tool has two moves, path and shape. You can explore what pixel does, but since we're going to be creating a selection, we don't want shape, we want path. See, there's a selection mode there, and there's a max mode and a shape mode. You can explore that by yourself. I'm just doing an intro here. We don't want a stroke, we're making a selection. We also don't want a fill, since we are making a selection. If we do create a fill, if we do choose a fill, for example that color, while we choose path, it'll be a bit confusing. Wait. I suddenly lost my argument. Wait. If you create that path in a new layer, oh, I don't know what's happening. Let's create a new layer and try it with this picture, okay? So we're going to use path, and we're going to add an anchor to this spot by pressing Alt and clicking on it, and then dragging. But we don't want it that high up, no, don't we? So we're going to click Control and then put this down. Now remember, you cannot automatically add or delete anchor points in between these points if you don't have this button checked. So, and then to add, we're going to move this anchor point, so we're going to press Control and then drag it. Okay. So when you're going to continue making the path, make sure that you click the end of the path and then click Control. Okay? So click, and then you can actually just drag. The length of this Bezier curve actually matters, because if you see, if you make the curve, the line that long, and click here, you'll get this. So let's click Ctrl Z. But if we make this line smaller, and that one also, let's make this line smaller, and then click here, you get a nice cute curve like that. So let's adjust this stuff. So adjust. Well, we don't want that now, don't we? Now drag, click, and drag. Let's change the direction of the Bezier curve. Okay. Change it a bit. Okay. Change this while pressing Control. Remember that. Click here, there. Okay, let's drag it out, and then click there. Click here, and then what the hell? Click here. And then let's try this. Okay, there. Hereby closing curve and then select selection. What the hell? It really didn't close. Why didn't it close? What happened? Click control. Control this. I don't believe I made a mistake, didn't I? Click this and then this. What happened? This is supposed to work. Control. It's actually a selection already. So there was actually a selection already, so yeah. Click path and then click make selection. Okay? Yeah. If this thing does not get highlighted, just right click and then click the make selection part. So we're going to go to the layer that contains the picture, and then while clicking another icon, the select icon actually, right click and then select layer via copy. Make this thing invisible and you have that crop picture. Now we're going to make the stroke thing outside. Then we're going to make the opacity like that. Okay, so the tut arrangement isn't actually correct, crap. Where is it? So we're going to move it up. Control and the right bracket. Yeah. And now we have an image that looks like this. Somewhat. In a sense. Okay, so with using this menu icons, you can see here the shortcuts for the undoing. Well, most of them are self-explanatory and we won't be using most of them anyways. You can explore them by yourself. You can also define keyboard shortcuts if you want with the image. Well, you can make this whole thing grayscale if you wanted. Look. Like that. And then we'll undo this. There's plenty of modes, there's plenty of adjustments. You can try this stuff by yourself. Do Google how to use the curves. Though, you could just experiment with how you're doing it and then see how it goes. Look. They look quite darker now, just like from Scooby-Doo or something. Now this just looks creepy though, doesn't it? Oh, this kind of looks awesome. Let's do that, okay? Yeah, there's different stuff, and this image size and this canvas size are actually quite useful if you're going to be making adjustments to the entirety of your PubMap. The canvas size, for example, if you want to put stuff here, and you want to add additional space, but you don't want the resizing to affect the entire picture, you can place an anchor up and then adjust the height. Let's make the height, I don't know, 200. See, there's additional space added here without adding the space all around. And here's the filters. This stuff are also in this stuff, though the settings are of course more detailed if you click this stuff. For example, clicking this lens blur gets you into this menu. But if you want a quick modification, just like at Instagram or whatever app you use on your phone, you can use this and then just modify a bit and just Yep. And then 3D, you can experiment with that. The view, oh yeah, the guides are actually quite useful. You can change the ruler here for whatever measurement you want just by right clicking and then choosing whatever measurement you're comfortable with. You can also create guides to help you with margins and the like, and when you want to align something, you could also make stuff snap to guides or the grid. You can actually also show the grid if you're interested in that to make your pictures more exact. So, and you can of course arrange your window depending on whatever editing you want to do, whether it be photo editing or, well, there's various settings here. It's up to you to modify. So, this is it, and good luck in your Photoshop learning conquest.
Potato,